Welcome to Final Whistle Football News, the home of daily football and transfer updates. Subscribe now and join the community of true football lovers. Why first news is latest Liverpool injury news as new absence confirmed and Alexander Isak concern explained. Liverpool manager Arne Slot has given an update on Alexander Isak's fitness as the striker hopes to make his debut for the club this weekend. Isak completed a £125 million deadline day move to Anfield from Newcastle United. AK is yet to play any domestic football this season, with him training away from the main Newcastle group amid speculation over his future throughout the summer. In fact, Isak's first minutes this campaign came for Sweden as a second-half substitute in the 2-0 loss against Kosovo on Monday. He has since returned to Liverpool and has been training with his new teammates for the first time this week. He could make his debut for the club when Liverpool take on Burnley at Turf Moor on Sunday afternoon 2 p.m. kickoff. Ahead of that game, Slot has given the latest on Isak's fitness, saying that the club will be cautious with his return to action. First of all, I think the Swedish manager Jon Dahl Tomasson deserves a big compliment because he gets one of the best, maybe the best striker in the world in, and he needs to play two very important games for his country, but understands that if he would play him twice for 90 minutes then probably the player would have been injured for multiple weeks, he said in his pre-match press conference. And that's not always easy for a manager, that he takes care of the interest of a player, so he deserves a big compliment for that, and we will treat Alex the same as they did. So don't expect him to be every single game 90 minutes on the pitch. That is definitely not going to happen in the upcoming weeks. He missed a proper preseason. I think he missed 3 or 4 months of team sessions, so now we have to build him up gradually. But we have signed him not only for the upcoming weeks, but we have signed him for 6 years, so this is what we have to keep in mind and what the fans have to keep in mind if they see that I take him off at a certain moment or if I only bring him in for a small amount of minutes. That is all for the long-term fitness of the player. Isak is not the only player Liverpool will be monitoring in terms of fitness ahead of the game. Slot has also confirmed a blow over the availability of midfielder Curtis Jones. Injury unknown. What Slot has said: Curtis Jones, of course I don't know if you knew, but he got injured in the last game. That he will not be available for the game against Burnley, but I think the rest of them all came back without a problem, and that is not always the situation. Possible return date unknown. Jeremy Frimpong injury, hamstring. After missing the last 2 games with an injury picked up against Bournemouth in the opening game of the season, Frimpong returned to training and is expected to be back. My second news is Man City given unwanted January transfer distraction after contract waiting promise. Bernardo Silva is out of contract at Manchester City next summer, but his future has been thrown into doubt by the Benfica presidential elections. Bernardo Silva is being eyed up for a return to Benfica and the club want him as soon as January. Manchester City captain Bernardo Silva is at the center of a battle for the presidency of former club Benfica, with his future at the Etihad beyond January thrown into doubt. Silva was appointed City captain in the summer but is into the final year of his contract and appeared to hint during the Club World Cup that he had made up his mind to leave the club in 2026. The 31-year-old is into his 9th season at the Etihad and has been linked with moves away in recent years, after expressing an interest in pursuing a new challenge. Having only just been appointed captain, Pep Guardiola will want to keep the Portuguese midfielder for at least the season, but Benfica presidential candidate João Noronha Lopes has cast doubt on that after expressing his desire to sign Silva. Noronha Lopes is confident of bringing him back to his boyhood club should he win the election on October 25, but also said he felt the deal could be done in January, with Benfica paying City a fee to sign the Portugal international. Yes, I confirm that. There is a contract waiting for Bernardo Silva, said Noronha Lopes, who is the favorite to win the election. And I really want to bring him already in January. He personifies everything I want for Benfica: identity, a winning culture, and he is a great Benfiquista. And I can guarantee you that we will not stop here. The speculation has cranked up further after Benfica coach Bruno Lage said he believed Silva would soon return to the club where he came through the ranks, although he left for Monaco after just 3 first-team appearances, without wanting to enter the political side. From what I know of Bernardo and his motivation, soon he will be a Benfica player, regardless of the president, said Lage. The speculation will be an unhelpful distraction for City and their captain as they look to get there. Campaign back on track. Having lost 2 of their first 3 Premier League games, Silva has started 2 of those games as captain. He was appointed by Guardiola in the summer after delivering a couple of withering assessments of the team's efforts last season, when they finished 3rd in the Premier League, lost to Crystal Palace in the FA Cup final and were dumped out of the Champions League in the playoff round. "I chose him for one reason," Guardiola said of Silva's appointment. "In the last season, when we were in big trouble, always he was there. Always he was there, training every day, exhausted. We had just 13, 14 players plus the academy in one moment, and every 3 days we'd lose a game, and always he was there. He's the player in my period here who has played the most minutes, so he has always been available. For his generosity when he doesn't play, always a big smile, always trying to help, he played at left back, right back, winger, holding midfielder. It doesn't matter which position, always thinking what is best for the team. With all his attributes, I said he will be a good captain. And he's been a really good captain." Guardiola would have always expected the appointment to be a short-term one, but it could throw his plans off course if his captain is now the subject of an attempted transfer in January. My third news is Chelsea predicted 11 versus Brentford, 2 changes made as Blues face big Cole Palmer decision, the latest Chelsea team news and predicted lineup against Brentford, with updates on Cole Palmer and Alejandro Garnacho. Chelsea will hope to continue their positive start to the new Premier League season on Saturday when they make the short trip across London to take on Brentford. But the Blues could be missing several important players. The chief concern is the fitness of key playmaker Cole Palmer, who missed both Chelsea's previous 2 matches and the international break due to a groin injury, but he is just one of 7 first-teamers who could be unavailable this weekend, while there are also concerns of the availability of new signing Alejandro Garnacho, who could make his debut along with loanee Facundo Buonanot. That we've got all of the latest team news and injury updates ahead of the Brentford match below, along with a full predicted lineup. Palmer aggravated a pre-existing groin injury during the warm-up before the recent win over West Ham United and hasn't featured since, and Chelsea have been cagey about his condition in the build-up to this week's fixture. The initial prognosis was that the injury was relatively minor, with his withdrawal from the squad to play Fulham reported as being largely precautionary. But Maresca did not sound optimistic about Palmer's chances of playing, saying only that the club will try to get him fit but would continue to rest him if he wasn't back up to full speed. It currently looks likely that Palmer misses out for 1 more week. There is, at least, good news regarding João Pedro, who was seen vomiting on the pitch during a recent Brazil match after being hurt in a collision with teammate Gabriel Martinelli. It has since been confirmed that the forward has not sustained a significant injury and is not believed to be at any risk of missing time for his club. Eagle-eyed fans spotted what appeared to be Palmer in the background of training photos taken from Cobham during the week, and Enzo Maresca confirmed during his Friday press conference that the England international was back on grass and practicing. There is also speculation as to how involved summer signing Garnacho will be following his move from Manchester United. The Argentine was not included in his national squad following a limited pre-season and will likely take some time to get up to full match fitness. As such, Garnacho is not expected to start against Brentford, and a decision will have to be made on whether he makes the bench or has to wait for his debut. But in his pre-match press conference, Maresca said that he was hopeful that Garnacho would get some minutes. Deadline day signing Buonanot should be ready to play if required. 2 players who are closing in on returns but who remain unlikely to feature against Brentford are defender Benoit Badiashile and perennially crooked midfielder Lavia, both of whom are expected to be fit again by the end of September following unspecified injuries sustained in pre-season. Liam Delap is expected to miss up to 12 weeks thanks to a serious hamstring injury and will not return until December. Mark Guiu has been recalled from his loan spell at Sunderland to provide cover up front and could be on the bench this weekend. Meanwhile, youngster Dario Asugo was the lone victim of the international break. The 20-year-old sustained a serious thigh injury while training with Portugal's under-21s and has undergone surgery. No return date has been set, but it would be a pleasant surprise if he played again in 2025. Michaelo Mudryk remains suspended due to an alleged doping violation, and Levi Colwill will miss most of the season with an ACL injury. Full Chelsea predicted lineup versus Brentford: Sanchez, Cucurella, Adarabioyo, Chalobah, James, Fernandes, Caicedo, Gittins, Estevao, Neto, João Pedro. My last news is how Barcelona midfielder closed the doors on a summer exit. I want to fight. One of the players who came close to leaving Barcelona in the last summer transfer window was Marc Casado. Several clubs showed interest in him, and at one point, it seemed possible that he might depart. The club's sporting management had considered some proposals, as in the case of Fermin Lopez. With many midfielders in the squad and the club's financial situation in need of relief, a good sale would have been welcomed. As it would turn out, though, Casado never considered the possibility of an exit and ended up staying put at the club. Now, Marca has brought forward an extensive report detailing how things went down behind the scenes and how the La Masia shut the doors on a departure. Casado stood firm. As per the report, no formal offer was made for Casado, but there were informal conversations. Clubs such as Real Betis and Wolves made it known to Barca that they would be willing to bid for him. The figures discussed ranged between 25 to 30 million. However, for a transfer to happen, the player himself would have had to ask to leave. And, Casado never took that step. The midfielder held a meeting with the coaching staff to decide whether he wanted to leave or stay at Barcelona. During that conversation, Casado was unequivocal: "I want to fight to get into the team." Casado did not want to leave the club of his dreams, especially after the effort it took to reach the first team. In addition, his performances last season were top-notch, as he won the trust of Hansi Flick. Faced with the player's firm stance, the sporting management closed the matter. Opportunity beckons. Casado knows he will not get the same minutes as last season, with Pedri, Frenkie de Jong, Gavi, and the returning Marc Bernal all vying for the two spots in midfield, but he is ready to fight for his place in the team despite knowing the difficulty. This is exactly the attitude Flick wants from his players. Looking ahead to this weekend's match against Valencia, Casado has a chance to start. Frenkie de Jong returned from international duty with discomfort and is a serious doubt for the match. Gavi will also be unavailable and Bernal is not ready to start. Furthermore, the situation with Gavi remains uncertain. Surgery is still a possibility, and if that happens, it would further open the door for Casado to enter the starting lineup regularly. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment Speech Balloon, and subscribe for the latest football updates. Stay tuned for more news on Liverpool, Man City, Chelsea, and Barcelona. See you in the next one.